Good evening, friends. We have a full house tonight, so if you are in the bleachers, I need you to slide and take up just your one seat. I have counted everyone, and everyone is accounted for. So I need you to slide together, create room for those in the back who have their tickets to be here. Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our commencement exercises for the class of 2024. My name is Father Brian Zumbrum. I get to deal with all the logistics of tonight. So the tickets, the parking passes, all the parts you love are what I get to do tonight. So hopefully that experience was about as traumatic for you as it was for me. And we'll count that all as even. I have a few announcements before we start to make sure the celebration is a rich and beautiful one for everyone in attendance. So first, last night I said every adult should check their cell phone in this moment. And at least one adult decided, oh, that's not me. And these big ears heard that ringing in the middle of the Mass. So I need every adult to take their phone out, look at it, and make sure it is on silent. Notice I'm not telling the kids they don't know what ringers are. This is an adult problem. So I'm still looking. Some of you either have decided not to bring a cell phone, which I don't believe, or are going, that's not me. Check your cell phone in this moment, friends. Especially the ones buried at the bottom of that purse that is going to be super uncomfortable to dig out. Second, and this one I need each of you in this room to trust me on. Graduations are celebrated many different ways in many places. But one of the things that defines a Salesianum graduation is there are 2 times in which this room is silent for the duration of the experience. When the awards are read, and most importantly, when each graduate is read. It creates this amazing moment when we hear nothing but the names of these young men who are graduating. And then there is the moment when one graduate on behalf of the class receives the diploma and thrusts it in the air, and this room explodes in volume. I am asking each and every one of you to keep that sacred silence with us tonight. Some of you are going, yeah, I know, but I'm going to yell. I have had 8 graduations here. I have had one family do it to one kid in those 8 years, and that kid was mortified because it ruined a moment that he had been told to wait for 4 years. So I'm asking each of you to trust me in this moment that 118 years of doing this, we got a few things right. Finally, at the end, please wait until every grad, teacher, and administrator leaves the building before you all attempt to exit. Your graduates all are going to pick up their diplomas first before they meet you outside. So know that there's going to be those extra few minutes while they're in there that you'll all be able to exit outside and meet them. Please make sure they get their diplomas. It's kind of the whole point of why they're here. So if they come and give you that lovely hug and there is not a purple thing in their hand, send them back in to pick it up. Friends, your sons, grandsons, nephews, friends, cousins, brothers have been a true gift to me and every member of this community. We are so excited for this celebration to be one for all of you to remember. Thank you for helping us do so. Live Jesus.
families, friends, and honored guests. Before we begin tonight's ceremonies, it is my honor to ask all gathered here to stand and recognize the men and women whose dedication has made a difference in the lives of every member of the class of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, the faculty and staff of Salesianum School. On behalf of the trustees, administration, faculty, and staff of Salesianum School, the members of the class of 2024 welcome all gathered here to the 118th Commencement Exercises of Salesianum School. As we come to the end of our high school journey, we remember the core beliefs that have guided our time here and the traditions that remind us each day that we belong to something greater than just ourselves. In that spirit, we begin this solemn and joyful ceremony by first honoring God and country.
The direction of intention is a prayer of St. Francis de Sales, reminding us that we are always in the presence of God. It is said before every action at Salesianum, great or small. For over 100 years, every class and meeting, assembly, practice, game, and performance has begun with these sacred words found in your programs. At this time, we ask that you join us, the class of 2024, as we pray the direction of intention for the final time as Salesianum students. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. My God, give me the grace to perform this action with you and through love for you. In advance, I offer to you all the good that I may do, and accept all the difficulty I may meet therein. St. Francis de Sales, pray for us. St. Jane de Chantal, pray for us. Blessed Louis Brisson, pray for us. And now, please remain standing and direct your attention to the American flag as the Salesianum Wind Ensemble plays our national anthem.
So proudly Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Yoon, and I'd like to thank all of you for joining us in the graduation of the class of 2024. Just as everyone promised me, these past 4 years were the best 4 years of my life to date. In fact, I'm sure that all of my brothers in the class of 24 would agree with me on just that. So, thank you, teachers, for not only encouraging our curiosity, but molding us into fine young men. Thank you, administrators, for making Salesianum a school that we can be proud of. Thank you, alumni, for being the shoulders that we stand on. Thank you, parents, for your boundless love and support. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for keeping us humble. And thank you to my 227 Salesian brothers for making these past 4 years so special. Now, I'd like to clue you all in on how my writing process for this speech unfolded. I started by following the process that I use to work through any and all of my important writing assignments. So this process has 5 steps. I brainstorm, think of a few key points, make an outline, write a draft, and finalize my paper. However, when it came to this speech, I was about halfway through that 3rd step when I decided to completely scrap my process. The process is a perfect fit for a research paper, but I realized that it leaves much to be desired when applied to a graduation speech. But to be honest, I've always struggled to do just that, to summarize Salesianum. Throughout my high school career, whether I was speaking to a prospective family, speaking to board members, or just talking to a friend from a different school, when asked what makes Salesianum special, I couldn't quite gather the right words to find an answer that would do justice to that question. Even when given the freedom and leisure of a speech like this, I'm not sure if I can put together an answer that covers the full scope of that loaded question. It's both wildly frustrating, yet it's both perfectly reasonable at the same time. Nonetheless, as I stand shoulder to shoulder with my brothers, with 18 years of experience under my belt, readying myself to take this leap of uncertainty and of possibility, do I think that I have finally found a serviceable response? It took me a heck of a long time. In fact, the entire time I've been here to find an answer that I liked. It might be that I find myself in this predicament because of where my journey with Salesianum began. I know so many of my Salesian brothers who have had grandparents, dads, uncles, and brothers all come through these very halls as students themselves. Students who are blessed enough to be born into families with roots deeply connected to the Salesian tradition. Unfortunately, I never had that experience for myself. My Salesian journey started in the late fall of my 8th grade year. For those of you that don't know, that's just as the deadline to apply for high school approaches. So in other words, I started quite late. You see, up to this point in my life, I already had another high school predetermined for me. I myself hadn't put much thought into it. My family, friends, and middle school teachers all steered me in that direction. And luckily, I dodged that bullet. And to this day, I'm not entirely certain of what changed my mind that brought me to this school. Maybe it was a high standard of excellence, or maybe it was the enthusiasm displayed by the students, or maybe, just maybe, it was Mr. Winchell's admissions magic during open house. But something pulled me into this school, and if I had to guess, I would say it's that same something that I always struggle to identify when talking about Salesianum. Regardless, I found myself making the biggest decision of my life with my weight of the future on my shoulders, as well as my dad's money on the line, based on what was at the time simply a whim. Looking back, I have no idea how my life would have turned out if I'd never taken that leap of faith to join Salesianum. I'll never know what those countless alternate futures would have looked like for me. But that's the beauty of it. I don't need to know. I don't need to know to understand that plenty of institutions could have given me a school with fellow students. But only Salesianum, and only Salesianum, could have given me a family and a new set of brothers. The thing is, the beauty of Salesianum doesn't end there. It's present in the way that each and every one of us in the class of 2024 give everything to each other and to our brotherhood. We can look to the obvious examples, such as our unmatched student sections, or the resounding standing ovations after every single Salesian reflection, but it's present in our everyday lives as well. On any given school day, I can start off my day by being greeted by an ever-loving Justice Bakuti, go on to get tutored in physics by a frustrated yet surprisingly patient Nick Martin, sing my heart out at Mass with Chris Pastro, break bread at lunch as I vehemently argue with a group of soccer players, continue to improve my piano skills with Dylan Manarang, and come back to school only to paint my chest and blindly back up all of Jack Catrocious' trademark heckles. Now, it goes without saying, I just listed off a motley list of activities with the most arbitrary collection of students. But the reality is, here at Salesianum, this is our normal. Not one of us is forced to live by a single narrative, and instead we push each other to be the best versions of ourselves in every regard. Our myriad of accolades, the athletics, academics, and arts may have only seemed to have come from a very linear process of demanding excellence, but the reality is, just like all other prerequisites to success, it is only made possible by the strong support group that is our brotherhood. The same brotherhood that gives us the confidence, strength, and love to take on whatever it may be that crosses our many, many unique paths. The brotherhood that allows us to live out who we are called to be. The brotherhood that gives us the opportunity to take hold of our best selves and never let go. And to quote the most quoted quote in the colorful history of Salesianum, it is that brotherhood that allows us to be who we are and be that well. It is something that has impacted the lives of each and every one of us gathered here today on these bleachers, and it is something that I am confident that we will all continue to live by. So that the Salesian Brotherhood continues to extend outside of 1801 North Broome Street and will continue to embed itself in this floating rock that we all call home. From the bottom of my heart, I wish I could have understood this message a little bit better as a freshman walking into this building for the first time. But alas, I was too busy struggling with the tie for the first time and a bit preoccupied stressing over the new environment to take any of that in. Even at my freshman orientation, when a senior by the nickname, and I kid you not, of Big Tasty, sat me and a group of freshmen down in this very gym and told us about the invaluable journey that we were about to embark on, I couldn't appreciate it to its fullest extent. But hindsight is a funny thing, because only as I have now experienced Salesianum for myself can I attest to the truth and realness of its message. So, what is it about Salesianum that makes it so special? Well, I'm sure if you pose that question to 228 of us, you'd be met with 228 different responses. So, I'd like to preface that my answer is only my best effort at capturing that overwhelming sentiment. The first time I gave a confident response to that question was only a few weeks ago, and it happened in the most unlikely of places. You see, a few of my friends and I decided to go fishing, and to make it to this very lucrative fishing spot, we had to trek a little over 2 miles through a dense thicket of trees, rivers, and hills. And on a warm, sunny day, a hike under the trees is refreshing, maybe relaxing even. But on this particular evening, we made the trek in conditions that made the trip what I can only describe as a, how do I put this, as a bad idea. However, it was in the roughest part of this journey when I came across my answer. As we were wading through a river that was submerging our bodies in seemingly Arctic conditions, I was asked the question. The three of us that were Sally's guys wanted so badly for our, frankly, one unfortunate non-Sally's friend to understand why we loved our school so much. Now, it may have been from my experiences from an encounter just a few weeks ago, or maybe the long walk had cleared my mind. But in that moment, I had my simple yet meaningful epiphany. What is it about Salesianum that makes it so special? Salesianum is a place of love. The love that flows between our brotherhood, the love that pushes us to be our best selves, and the love that brings us closer to God every day is what I believe makes Salesianum so special. Whether it's during one of the countless highs of our state championships, or the lows of losing one of our fellow brothers, the love that exists in this school allows us to laugh together, cry together, and to stay together. It is a love that has shaped me and my brothers into the men we are today, and the men that we will continue to become. And it is a love that will be so difficult to say goodbye to. Now, I'd like to leave you all with one of the most important lessons that I've learned here at Salesianum. It was taught to me by none other than my religion teacher, Mr. Menakuchi. There's a branch of philosophy called epistemology. It's the study of knowledge. Epistemology outlines two branches of knowledge that then divide into dozens of more specific variations. All of these models of knowledge grant us the ability to justify our beliefs. However, they fail to grant us any certainty in our justifications. There is no model of knowledge that can grant us any certainty in any of the decisions that we make. And as a class, we have an extensive period of uncertainty ahead of us. It is a period in our lives where at times things will go south, and at times our character will be tested. But it is also a period in our lives where we can determine our futures. Too often, when we are met with uncertainty, our fear trumps our hope. But for the Salesianum class of 2024, I am confident that we will embrace that uncertainty, take hold of our dreams, and never let go. Because no matter what befalls us, we will have each other. As friends, as families, and most importantly, as brothers. But as contradictory as it is, I have to say that of this brotherhood and of this love, I am certain. I love you all. Semper Ultra, ever onward, live Jesus.
Good evening. My name is Jude Zerba, Dean of Academics at Salesianum. At this time, we will recognize members of this graduating class for outstanding performance in their studies. I will introduce the chair of each academic department to announce awards for excellence. During the awarding of honors and medals, we ask that all parents and guests hold their applause until the end. We will begin with the chair of our theology department, Mr. Nick Lee.
The Captain Edward F. Bronson Medals for Excellence in Theology. Honorable mention is given to Ryan Toy, Nicholas Martin, Andrew Milinarski. The Bronze Medal is merited by Ronan Landis. The Silver Medal is merited by Matthew Azevedo. The Gold Medal is merited by James Frank Miller.
The awards for mathematics will be presented by our chair, Ms. Karen Schuster.
The Reverend George J. Constanzer, OSFS, Memorial Medals for Excellence in Mathematics. The Bronze Medal is merited by Andrew Scott. The Silver Medal is merited ex aequo by Matthew Function and Patrick Rowe. The Gold Medal is merited by Eric Yoon.
The awards for English will be presented by our chair, Ms. Caitlin Garton.
The Reverend James B. Donovan, OSFS, Memorial Medals for Excellence in English. The Bronze Medal is merited ex aequo by James Frank Miller and Benjamin Garrett. The Silver Medal is merited by Matthew Acevedo. The Gold Medal is merited by John Link.
We have multiple awards for science. These will be presented by our chair, Ms. Rebecca Younger.
The Dr. Robert J. Okoniewski Memorial Medals for Excellence in Biology. Honorable mention is given to Matthew Acevedo, Andrew Castellano, Connor Holston, and Eric Yoon. The Bronze Medal is merited by Mason Carr. The Silver Medal is merited by John Link. The gold medal is merited by Mauro Colonna. The Frank and Gertrude Kirsch medals for excellence in chemistry. Honorable mention is given to Patrick Rowe. The bronze medal is merited by Gabriel Tether. The silver medal is merited by Aaron Darch. The gold medal is merited by Nicholas Martin. The Paul A. Sullivan Class of 32 medals for excellence in physics. Honorable mention is given to Aaron Darch. The bronze medal is merited by Patrick Rowe. The silver medal is merited by Andrew Scott. The gold medal is merited by Nicholas Martin.
The awards for social studies will be presented by our chair, Mr. Colby Klein.
The Mr. and Mrs. William A. Kenny Memorial Medals for Excellence in Social Studies. Honorable mention is given to Andrew Risco, Ronan Landis, Benjamin Garrett, and Eric Yoon. The bronze medal is merited by Rowan Nuri. The silver medal is merited by John Link. The gold medal is merited by Nicholas Martin.
There are multiple awards for world languages. These will be presented by our chair, Ms. Pavla Osborne.
The medals for excellence in Spanish. Honorable mention is given to Luke Steinrock, Mason Carr, Evan Anon. The bronze medal is merited by Matthew Acevedo, Eric Yoon. The silver medal is merited by Andres Gonzalez. The gold medal is merited by Andrew Castellano. The Rocco A. Lombardi Jr. Medal for Excellence in French. Honorable mention is given to Robert Grushka. The bronze medal is merited by Matthew Brown and Gianluca Maroni. The silver medal is merited by Isaac Montano Lopez. The gold medal is merited by Douglas Barrett. The medals for excellence in American Sign Language. Honorable mention is given to Wyatt Ensland, Kobe Onogu. The bronze medal is merited by Nathaniel Miller. The silver medal is merited by Michael Joya. The gold medal is merited by Jake Swift. The medal for excellence in Mandarin. The gold medal is merited by Ryan Lefebvre. The medals for excellence in Latin. Honorable mention is given to Christian Sullivan. The bronze medal is merited by Aaron Darch. The silver medal is merited by John Lake. The gold medal is merited by James Frank Miller.
There are multiple awards for arts and innovation. These will be presented by our chair, Mr. Zachary Roby.
The medals for excellence in the visual arts. Honorable mention is given to Dylan Ortega, Leonard Warren. The bronze medal is merited by Ian Sabia. The silver medal is merited by James Lauer. The gold medal is merited by Sean Collins. The Michael A. Deptula American Institute of Architecture Medals for Excellence in Drafting and Architectural Design. The bronze medal is merited ex aequo by Alexander Marston, Brady Walker. The silver medal is merited ex aequo by Finn Carlin, Patrick Collins. The gold medal is merited ex aequo by Matthew Acevedo, Benjamin Lucher. The Laffey McHugh Memorial Medals for Excellence in Computer Science. The bronze medal is merited by Jackson Antonelli. The silver medal is merited by Gabriel Tether. The gold medal is merited by Andrew Castellano.
The awards for performing and digital media will be presented by our Director of Arts, Mr. Aaron Bogad.
The Reverend John T. Sprague, OSFS, Memorial Medals for Excellence in Dramatics. Honorable mention is given to Brendan Flaherty, Joseph Ben McHugh. The bronze medal is merited by Dominic Figliola. The silver medal is merited by Shane Alexa. The gold medal is merited ex aequo by Wyatt Ensland and Robert Grushka. The medals for excellence in the technical aspects of theater. The bronze medal is merited by Matthew Zuccalillo. The silver medal is merited by Joseph Ben McHugh. The gold medal is merited by Alexander Marston. The Timothy Garbini Memorial Medals for Excellence in Musicianship. Honorable mention is given to Andrew Mlinarski. The bronze medal is merited by Christopher Camerata. The silver medal is merited by Dylan Manarang. The gold medal is merited by Kevin Adam. The Daniel Heatherton Memorial Choral Award for Mixed Choir. The bronze medal is merited ex aequo by Benjamin Lutcher, Elias Martin. The silver medal is merited ex aequo by Wyatt Ensland, Shane Alexa. The gold medal is merited by Robert Grushka. The medals for excellence in digital media. The bronze medal is merited by Wyatt Ensland. The silver medal is merited by Shane Alexa. The gold medal is merited by Nathan Reed.
Medals for excellence in athletics will be announced by our athletic director, Ms. Katie Godfrey.
The James M. and Alice B. Reese Memorial Medals for Scholar Athletes honor students for achieving excellence in the classroom as well as their chosen sports. Honorable mention is given to Jackson Antonelli, Chase Salucci, Ronan Landis, Kareem Thomas. The bronze medal is merited ex aequo by Frank Holodick, Rowan Nuri. The silver medal is merited by Samuel Felice. The gold medal is merited by James Frank Miller. The Colonel George H. Seitz Jr. Memorial Medals for Excellence in Athletics is presented for outstanding achievement while representing Salesianum in athletic competition. Honorable mention is given to Justin Hines and Bryce Patterson. The bronze medal is merited by Kareem Thomas. The silver medal is merited ex aequo by Brian Aline, Aiden Gonzalez, and Jason Truitt. The gold medal is merited ex aequo by Chase Salucci, James Frank Miller, and Rowan Nuri. In addition to the individuals recognized tonight, the class of 2024 leaves a record-setting legacy in excellence in athletics, having been major contributors to last year's 9 championships and this year's 7, with an opportunity to add 2 more banners in lacrosse and baseball tomorrow.
Medals for excellence in student leadership and contributions to the school's mission will be announced by our Director of Activities, Father Brian Zumbrum, and our Dean of Students, Mr. Patrick Stepek.
The Reverend Canon J. Francis Tucker, OSFS Memorial Medals for leadership and service to the Salesianum community as a member of the Student Council. The silver medal is merited ex aequo by Ryan Toy, Rowan Nuri, Bishop Lane, Darren Schwente. The gold medal is merited by Frank Holodick.
The Salesianum Alumni Master Award is presented to the graduating senior, recognized by the faculty and respected by peers for moral responsibility and good citizenship. The award is merited by Michael Joya.
The November 14th Award commemorates the anniversary of Salesianum's racial desegregation on November 14, 1950, and is given to the graduating senior who demonstrated a sustained commitment to equity, inclusion, and St. Francis de Sales' vision of a community that is unidiverse, both unified and diverse. The award is merited by Jason Truitt.
The Vincent J. Kowaleski Memorial Award is presented to the student who best exemplifies the spirit of courage, fortitude, and accomplishment in the face of adversity.
Although we know many students who have overcome considerable challenges on the journey to tonight, this award is presented to Mikey Scribo.
The Tyler Brown Pillar of Service Award is presented to a graduating senior in recognition of outstanding service. Named for the late Tyler Brown of the class of 2016, this award honors a student who has distinguished himself by consistently surpassing the school requirement for service over a 4-year period. The award is merited by John Casali.
The Guido R. Schiavi, class of 44, Spirit of Salesianum Award is presented to the student who throughout his career has best exemplified the spirit of Salesianum through participation in extracurricular activities and the support of classmates, and who has embraced our school's motto, "I have taken hold and will never let go." The award is merited by Andrew Semmel. As Guido is in attendance tonight, we ask that Andrew come down and receive the award directly from him.
And now, the awards for highest academic ranking over a 4-year period. The highest academic awards given at commencement. The Reverend Robert D. Kenny, OSFS, First President of Salesianum, Bronze Master Award for the student ranking 3rd highest over a 4-year period, is merited ex aequo by Mauro Colonna and Ryan Toy. The James A. Loader, Class of 49, Silver Master Award for the student ranking 2nd highest over the 4-year period, is merited by Nicholas Martin. The Reverend Thomas A. Lawless, OSFS Gold Master Award for the student ranking the highest over the 4-year period, is merited by Eric Yoon. At this time, as the member of this class with the highest academic rank, Eric Yoon is asked to come forward to receive his award from our principal, Father Beretta. Please join me now in recognizing this Salesian gentleman who receives his award on stage in the name of all of the students recognized tonight.
The Joseph D. Boxler Memorial Award for Personal Integrity and Generosity to Others is presented to a student that has distinguished himself as a young man uniquely dedicated to his classmates and the school community. Joseph Boxler was a junior at Salesianum when he lost his life in a car accident on October 2nd, 2007. His parents, Dan and Dorothy, established this award in his memory to recognize a student who has been a true friend and Salesian brother in times when it was needed most. Many in the class of 2024 would be worthy of mention for this award, but I think every member of this class recognizes the humility, gentleness, and compassion of this particular Salesian. And I would ask him to come down and join me on stage to receive this award. The Joseph D. Boxler Memorial Award for Personal Integrity and Generosity to Others is presented to Hayden Stetler.
This evening's ceremony is conducted with the highest of honor. To appropriately recognize each member of the class of 2024 and their achievements, and out of respect for all parents and families gathered here, we ask that all hold their applause and recognition so that the name of every member of the class can be read without interruption or distraction. To ensure that all members of the class are recognized, please maintain silence until the class of 2024 has had the opportunity to celebrate. Luke Alfred Brown. Patrick Stephen McGuinn. Ahmad Alexander Foster. Kareem Luke Thomas. James Michael Lauer. Jackson Roy Weil. Andrew James Scott. Isaiah James Hinson. Elliot Daniel Myers. Sean Jeffrey Fichter. Hunter Jacob Ballant. Robert Dylan Kirby. Grayson Marshall Donahue. Cole Patrick Garrison. James Dominic Kennedy. Colin Aiden Trepaz. Kurt Charles Kuhn. Robert Benjamin Grushka. Luke David Hancox. Thomas James Medico. Kosisana Jonathan Umobi. Zachary Russell Makos. Luke Daniel Bordley. Ronan Francis Landis. Matthew Ryan Speicher. Vincent James Offit.
Thomas Patrick Nagel. Matthew Joseph Brown. Ryan Lee Metz. Alexander Bernard Johnson. Hayden Riley Stetler. Dylan Edward Ortega. John Henry Katrocious. James Francis Miller. Andrew Robert Ritzko. Connor Michael Holston. Declan Ryan McDonald. Christian Raymond Sullivan. Kenneth Robert Villanova III. John Francis McKendry. Eric Joseph Mayer. Braden Robert Korb. James Michael McDermott. John Anthony Libanati. Sean Michael Duffy. Benjamin Frederick Lutcher. Brady Patrick Walker. Patrick Dale Collins. Jason Marcel Truitt. Zachary Michael Whitaker. Dylan James Farrell. Mark James Fellenbaum.
Cole John McCarran. Trevor Knight. Eric Matthew Sheets. Evan Thomas Anone. Jonah Panula Beck. Leonard Joseph Warren. Joseph Francis Nangle IV. Benjamin Reed Anton. Ryan David Lefebvre. Stanley Robert Tashinsky. Chase William Coda. Mason Christopher Carr. Aiden Joseph Dooley. Aiden Leon Gonzalez, Chethan Sai Konathala, Gianluca Christopher Maroney, Jeffrey Bevan Malik III, Logan Joseph Armour, Justin Alexander Hopewell, Daniel Thomas Campbell, Liam Thomas Schwartz, Zachary John Swartout, Carson William Robbins, John Vance Barbado, Chase Michael Salucci, Nathan Michael Bellapede,
Colin James Meredick, Brendan Thomas Flaherty, Dylan Michael Pandoli, John William Rossi, Jake Howard Ziegler, John Steele Lovett III, Sean Alexander Collins, Aiden Ryan Nichols, Eli Taylor Stover, Benjamin Joel Garrett, Ian Michael Arrigi, William Richard Bennett Jr., William Patrick Wheat, Finn James Carlin, John William Rosillo, James Anthony DiOrio, Joseph Michael Preddy, Nathan K. Reed, Matthew Joseph Zacalillo, Andre Quinn Strukel, Aaron Anthony Darsh, Jacob Eugene Portali, Kane Raymond Carter, Jonas Henry Kipp, Quinn Ryan Dutterer, Connor Forrest Smith,
Daniel Dai Nguyen, Alexander James Gordon, Brady Patrick Walsh, John Christian Casali, Andrew Salvatore Tiberi, Luke William Carosi, Matthew Paul Bamonte Jr., Michael Carlos Loyola, Jackson Robert Antonelli, Dade William Lawrence, Matthew David Funchin, Gabe McLaury Tether, Andrew Michael Lenarski, Nathaniel Benedict Krauthauser, Christopher Monaco Powell, Omar Edward Smith, Christopher Anderson Kent, Christopher Trey Pastro, Colin Patrick Ford, Andrew Douglas Semmel, Nicholas Andrew Strasowski, Brant Davis Berger, Lucas Miles Ryan, Chase Ryan Wildermuth, Leighton Walker DeMasters, Jason Lee Frazier,
Matthew Joseph Acevedo, Christopher Robert Camarada, Dylan Charles Manarang, Stephen Mark Corello, Joseph Benjamin McHugh III, John Albert Link, Noah Wyatt Seiler, Kevin Thomas Adam, Evan George Wallace, Lucas Aaron Kinsler, Michael Joseph Capriglione Jr., Samuel Lawrence Clark, Dominic Lorenzo Getz, Robert Gianni Passetti, Wakobi Anugu, Jake Andrew Swift, Alexander Joseph Jones, Victor Gabriel Adenike, Isaiah Guevara Matthew, James Nyambariga Makori, Jabril Ray, Marcus Claret Turner, Samuel James Felice, Nicholas Satria Lucas, Stephen Vincent Dills, Mauro Pasquale Calana,
Cole Patrick Locklear, Ian Xavier Sabia, Michael Bradley Joya, Luke Christopher Steinrock, Connor David Quinlan, Alexander Russell Falkowski, Jack Rudolph Igo, Christian Michael Bakuti, Cody Brandon Slowick, Timothy Campbell Kincaid, Owen Edward Sheldon, Blake Anthony Steele, Andrew Antonio Castellano, Dominic James Figliola, Eric David Veazey, Elias James Martin, Joshua Donald Emmel, Ian James Goss, Andrew Thomas DeMaio, Isaac Antonio Montano Lopez, Vincent Richard Shavico, Lobson Oliver Aguilar, Nathaniel Dean Echevarria, Noah Charles Driggs, Gavin Robert Patterson, Joseph Lawrence Pietropalo Jr.,
Shane William Alexa, Benjamin Thomas Devlin, Matthew James Priest, Evan Daniel Gordon, Bryce Policarpio Patterson, Nicholas Doyle Abbott, Maxwell Edward Moore, Andrew Sean Ransom, Spencer Julian Principe, Michael Lee Scrivo Jr., Santiago Kendall, Brandon Charles Riccardi, Noah Joseph Salitsky, Matthew Vincent Copeland, Alexander Patrick Marston, Stephen Christopher Mangini, John Cameron Terranova, Andrew Jesse Hahn, Elliot Michael Dotson, Jacob Anthony Quinn, Paulo Patricio Magat, Joshua John Pedrick, Nicholas William Martin, Nathaniel David Miller, Wyatt Bruce Enslin, Alexander Valashi Stefanide,
Lucas Antonio Oscar Galvez, Trey Victor Prospero, Douglas Allen Barrett, Gavin Robert Clark, David Thomas Taylor, Ryan Wynn Tran, Andres Gonzalez, Samuel Miles Diamedio, Brian Bill Aline Jr., Patrick Christopher Rowe Jr., Justice Peter Bakuti, Ryan James Toy, Darren Gidju Twente, Rowan Shane Nuri, Bishop Devin Lane, Lucas Vance Vahey, Justin Lee Hines, Ryan Michael Burns, Eric Yoon, introductory speaker, Frank Anthony Holodick, commencement speaker.
Salesianum is accredited by the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools and recognized by the Delaware Department of Public Instruction. It is my honor and privilege to grant the diploma of the school to the members of the class of 2024 who have successfully completed the required course of studies at Salesianum. Of all the awards and honors presented in this ceremony, none are more important than a Salesianum diploma. This honor indicates not only the fulfillment of academic requirements, but that these young men are part of the living legacy founded by three oblates who, in 1903, arrived from overseas to found a school and establish a brotherhood that aspires to form Salesian gentlemen, prepared by their studies here to become the rising hope of our country, our church, and our world. In keeping with long-standing Salesianum tradition, a single diploma is presented to one graduating senior, who in turn shares it with the class. I ask all parents to please hold their applause until the Salesians behind me have had their opportunity to celebrate their long-awaited moment, and then you join in. The senior chosen for this honor comes from a long and proud legacy of Salesianum graduates and, not known for being shy in a crowd, will also understand the importance of this moment. Again, please hold your applause and follow the lead of the graduating class. And I now ask the following senior to come forward and receive the Salesianum diploma on behalf of his Salesian brothers. And he's just finding out now who it is. John Henry Katrosis, would you please come down?
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my classmates, my friends, and my brothers, the class of 2024. To be honest, when I initially began writing this speech, I sat down at my computer and I was immediately lost. I was told I could write about whatever I want, and while that sounds like it would make the process easier, the countless memories, advice, lessons, and emotions that flooded my mind made it extremely difficult to choose just one overarching message. However, before I truly begin my speech, there was one topic that I knew I needed to touch on. I'm not sure if it was because this class never had our 8th grade graduation, or if we're just a very sentimental group, but the gratitude displayed by these guys over the last few weeks has been remarkably unique and moving. And I don't think it would be fair to speak on their behalf without displaying that same sense of gratitude to you all. To the most wonderful teachers in the world, who showed up like family to everything in and out of the classroom, whose passion for teaching was comparable only to your passion for us. Thank you. You made us love coming to school, something that I think we often take for granted. To the administration, especially Father Beretta, Father Zumbrum, the CFJ, Mr. Stepik, Dr. Kardish, and Mr. Adams, your handiwork has molded every single one of our characters, faiths, and educations. Your devotion to making us better men than we have ever been has gifted us a high school experience that we will never be able to repay you for. So thank you. And finally, to parents and family. I know for a fact that you've not heard it enough over the past 4 years, but thank you for sending us here. Your endless contributions, though often unnoticed, extend far beyond the financial sacrifices to attend Salesianum. For all of the games you drove us to, broken iPads you fixed, events you volunteered at, and for simply buying into the Salesianum experience, thank you. This second family would never have been given to us without you. And I know that for some families, you wondered at the very beginning of this if Salesianum was the right place, if this was the place that you could let go of our hands. But I hope that now you can look at these boys sitting in front of you and be proud of the men that you sent us here to become. Now, with gratitude aside, I looked up from my computer and I knew precisely what I wanted to tell my brothers for the very last time. It is exactly what I said to them the very first time I spoke at the beginning of the year on these very bleachers. I was giving a speech right here at freshman orientation, and I told those freshmen that roughly 700 days, if you're lucky, is the amount of days that you will get to attend Salesianum. That's 700 lunches, 700 flexes, 700 times that Father Beretta is late to a meeting, 4 homecomings, 2 proms, 1 orientation, and 1 graduation. You only ever get to live through this once. Seniors, today is day 700. So for the remainder of this speech, and for the remainder of this entire night, clear your mind. Take in this present moment, surrounded by your brothers, parents, teachers, administration, faculty, grandparents, and siblings. Because you only ever get to live through this once. But that wasn't my entire message to the freshmen that day. My main point was to ask them, how are you going to spend those next 700 days at Salesianum? And looking back, it's easy to see how things played out and give them advice, but that's really something that you can only do in hindsight. Even with all the advice in the world, those freshmen can't possibly imagine the countless friendships they'll make, opportunities presented to them, hardships they will experience together, and accomplishments that they will achieve as a class. They have no way to fathom the impact that they will have on not only Salesianum, but on each other. As the seniors and I have recently noticed, it's sometimes hard to tell how special this place is until it's nearly over. But just like those freshmen 4 years ago, we too took our first steps into Salesianum, just as blind as they were to the ups and downs and twists and turns that lied ahead of us. We were once planted here. So how did we spend those 700 days? I remember coming in that day on freshman orientation with all my St. Mary Magdalene friends, nervous, seeing absolutely no girls, and then meeting Father Zumbrum and thinking, wow, where did I go wrong? But that was quickly masked with the thoughts of fear and excitement that soon washed over us all. We knew that we were setting new standards for ourselves that we had never encountered before. We knew that we were now part of a historic brotherhood that would have our backs no matter where we go in life and no matter how old we are. We knew that classes would be harder, sports more athletic, GPAs higher than ever, and opportunities waiting for us to take them on. We chose Salesianum for a tradition of greatness, poised to teach us how to conquer the world if we just invested ourselves into it. But more importantly, it was going to teach us to conquer with compassion. We were not only here to grow our abilities, but our characters. We would not only be taught how to win, but to fight and stand for what is right. It was no longer time to hold mom's hand. It was time to become men. And as an incredible first test of our perseverance, we spent the rest of the year on Zoom classes in school with only half of our grade at a time. But nevertheless, we made the most of it. We made some of our first friends here, experienced our first wins and losses as teams, and saw how the first quarter of this new life would play out. We were officially planted here, and now it was time to bloom. 525 days left. The next 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. We were finally in the building full time, experiencing this place as it grew into more of a home than a school. Students and faculties became mentors and family, and we were finally exposed to everything this building had to offer. We became athletes and actors, musicians and artists alike, each one of us finding our unique contribution in this ocean of possibility. Because no matter who you were, what you were interested in, or how different you think you are, you were accepted and found your place in this class of 2024, solidifying yourself as a brother to us all. In other words, we were bonding as a class, becoming closer and closer through not only the major events of long-prepared musicals, sold-out football games, and Salesian reflections, but through the little moments that truly defined who we were as a group of men. The moments on this great walk through Salesianum that only a few of us will ever get to experience, and the moments that are easy to miss if you're only ever looking towards the finish line. The countless outdoor flexes we spent hiding our empty belt loops, the meaningless debates with teachers and classmates, the moronic conversations on bus rides to games, wrestling in the locker rooms before practices, gym classes where Mr. Steppett could still be seen with a smile, or the hours spent in jug for having our masks below our noses. These were the little moments that transformed us from strangers to brothers. Our lives were being interwoven before our eyes and becoming the tapestry of brotherhood that stands before us today. But the moments that bonded us the most were not always the brightest. That same year, our brotherhood was tested for the first time. The lives of Jeffrey Talley and Jaden Earl, once woven into this tapestry, were gone. However, we did anything but unravel, because despite our brotherhood being tested, despite some of us feeling the lowest lows that you can imagine, our bond as brothers grew stronger. We learned to be vulnerable with one another. We learned to lift each other up in times of need. We learned that not only were these men going to be there for you when you win, but they were going to be even more present when you lose. We learned to continue walking on this journey even when the finish line completely vanished from sight. 411 days left. We had bloomed. Our identity as a class solidified. We overcame COVID and finished out our first real year at Salesianum as the best versions of ourselves that we had ever been. As upperclassmen, we became leaders, captains, directors, representatives, and presidents. We tried new things, experienced the first preps together, got our first little brothers, had our first prom, and started the college process. It felt like we had just gotten here, and we were already making plans to leave. But we didn't quite realize that yet. If there was ever a moment where we began to feel as though this place was ours, it was now. We began following our own ambitions, making our passions into our extracurriculars, and going on encounters and bridge trips across the world where we learned that happiness was never about the money, but about the community that we build around us. We learned to be grateful for the gifts of these people around us. We realized that although we've had some incredibly successful years here, it really was never about the accomplishments or the accolades that came with them. We learned not to tie our identities to our successes even in the face of victory. Because Salesianum is not the records, the performances, or the trophy, or even the building that we walk through. Salesianum is us, and we have been honored to carry its legacy. 168 days left, our final year at Salesianum, and yet the end still felt impossibly far away. This was our year. All of that time preparing to be leaders was finally behind us. We set the tone. We planned the events. We run the houses and the teams and the clubs. We had our keys and swords retreat, preparing us for the coming months, and then it was time for what a lot of us believe was the best year of our lives. And so the cycle of major events began. Orientation, ring mass, 3 encounters, senior sunrise, spirit week, homecoming, Christmas lunch, band concerts, Southon, musicals, prom, and 7 state championships and counting came rushing by us. These massive moments, the one that you dream of one day growing up and experiencing, were now finally being experienced by us. And yet, looking back, those moments that we spent years waiting for are not my favorite memories. Looking back, the moments that I'm the most fond of seem to slip by us in an instant, without us even noticing. The countless periods that we sat through, daydreaming for Friday to come sooner, we can now only wish that we had a few more of. Those early morning practices where the turf was frosted over and we debated staying in bed, we would now wake up for in a heartbeat. The times we watched DJ Fig get painted as an exclamation point, or the way too many questionable speeches given by Darren at 8:30 in the morning, I would give everything to go back to. Because this whole time I had my eyes on the finish line. And as it grew ever closer, it grew more and more insignificant compared to the priceless day-to-day moments that we took for granted. Just as fast as we reached the beginning of our senior year, we had officially reached the beginning of the end. The senior sports banquet, 25 days left. Time to be uprooted. And this isn't necessarily significant because it highlights the end of our high school sports, but more because for the first time ever, these white tuxedos, which felt impossibly far away not too long ago, finally appeared. And if I'm being honest, I was devastated. I always knew the finish line was approaching, but for the first time, it was finally in sight. I feared the idea of moving on and leaving behind everything that we have known as a second home for years now. I feared the idea of everything we've done here becoming just one more yearbook. But most painful, I feared the idea of losing all of you, the brothers that I never had. When I put on that white tuxedo for the first time at the sports banquet, and I looked in the mirror, I did not see myself. I saw the man that I was supposed to become for years now, and yet he still felt impossibly far away. Surely the end is not here already. Surely we still have so much time. Day 700. 20 minutes left. In just 700 days, we've experienced a decade of life. The twists and turns that those freshmen 4 years ago had no idea were coming are now completely memories. Every event we looked forward to, every friend that we would make, every hardship we would face is now behind us. Ever since that night at the sports banquet, I've seen this place as something different and have grappled with the reality of its conclusion, the reality of the finish line. Now I see that this place was never a school to me. A school doesn't give you a family. A school doesn't imprint itself on our hearts with an indelible mark. A school doesn't give you the best men at your wedding. A school doesn't teach you love. And a school doesn't make you tear up when you're writing your graduation speech. If this place was just a school, this brotherhood would be insignificant. I would not be the one speaking to you tonight, and we would all be those same boys that we walked into this building as freshman orientation. And it's for those exact reasons that I have realized at Salesianum, there is no finish line. There never really was. There can't be a finish line because Salesianum is us and the people that it has shaped us into. As St. Francis de Sales tells us, bloom where you are planted. We were once planted here, and we certainly bloomed into our own. But the book of Ecclesiastes tells us that while there is a time to be planted, there is also a time to be uprooted. God makes everything beautiful in its own time. I don't want us to leave this commencement mourning the loss of our former lives, because while the amount of days within this building may have run out, the story of our Salesianum journey continues. The word commencement does not mean the end, it means the start of something new. It is time to be planted somewhere new. This is not a goodbye speech, but the celebration of the foundation that we have been blessed to start our new lives upon. We get to start an entirely new chapter of life with characters molded, faith solidified, and 227 brothers that are going to have our backs no matter where we go in life, no matter how old we are. The building we walk through and the people we meet might be different, but look around this room. What we have right here, this love, this family, and this brotherhood, no matter how difficult it might be to leave this building, are forever. A wise man named Dr. Kardish once told me, when I was struggling to make a college decision, that you can always come back here and experience what you've already conquered. You know it, it's easy. But if you don't take what this place has given you, and for at least a little, try something greater, then you'll never know how truly wonderful your potential could have been. We spent 700 days walking on this journey to this moment. We have been planted, bloomed, and are now about to be uprooted. We have made a mark on this brotherhood and this community that will forever shape Salesianum. And in return, Salesianum has made its mark on us, forever molding us into the best men that we can possibly be as we move on to conquer the world with compassion, love, and humility. As St. Francis says, those who go, stay, and those who stay, go. It is time to go separate ways. It is time to say goodbye. It is time to reach higher highs and lower lows. But more importantly, it is now time to see how truly wonderful each of our potentials could be, knowing that no matter where we end up in life or how old we are rooted in this brotherhood, and we are never alone. We will forever be on this Salesianum journey together. There might be 700 incredible days behind us, but there are thousands waiting to be lived in front of us. How are we going to spend them? Thank you for everything, and good night.
Thank you, Frank. And I want to take this opportunity to recognize you and the other members of our student council briefly. Each year, Salesianum entrusts all students with the responsibility for this brotherhood. And among the students, the senior class naturally takes the lead and sets the tone. And among the seniors, 5 students selected by their peers for leadership as members of student council accept the challenge and the privilege of representing our school community and working tirelessly to help it grow. Ryan Toy, Darren Schwente, Bishop Lane, Rowan Nuri, and our president, Frank Holodick, please stand and accept our gratitude for your tremendous leadership this year and service to our brotherhood. Everything we accomplish at Salesianum is possible because our faculty and staff are extraordinarily dedicated to your son's academic, personal, and spiritual growth. In the past 4 years, their commitment has been nothing short of remarkable. Join me in thanking them all for their outstanding effort these 4 years and for their commitment to the growth and well-being of all our students. As Frank said just a moment ago, Francis de Sales, a quote from Francis de Sales we often say during graduation season is, "Those who go stay, and those who stay go." As well as our graduating seniors, several members of our faculty and staff are saying farewell to Salesianum tonight. I would ask the following departing members of the faculty and staff to please stand and be recognized as this will be their last graduation among our number. Mr. Charles Barillo, Mr. Stephen Garrett, and Miss Allison Hildenbrand. At Salesianum, we stand on the shoulders of giants who have gone before us, and in that spirit, I asked the graduating seniors to let me know if there was a special family connection to be recognized. I could not include all the names submitted, there were simply too many, but know that those who will be recognized stand for only a fraction of the many connections we cherish here at Salesianum. If your name is called, whether you are a graduating senior, or a dad, or a grandfather, or an uncle, or a brother, please stand to be recognized. As I prepare to highlight alumni connections, it seems appropriate to start with Matt Bamonte Jr., whose father, Matt Bamonte Sr., please stand, Matt, you're going to be my exemplar for the rest of the room, who is not only a member of the class of 1995, but also the current president of the Salesianum Alumni Association. Alex Marston's dad, Patrick, graduated in 2000, and his uncle Eric followed a few years later in 2005. But the name that probably sounds familiar to many of you, especially many of us seated on this side of the room, because his grandmother, Kathy Marston, worked at Salesianum for more than 20 years as the assistant to the academic dean, and we're very happy to have the whole Marston family here with us tonight. Zach Swartout is the fourth member of his family to graduate from Salesianum, following his brother Colin in 2022, his uncle Brandon in 2004, and his father, and pitching standout at the time, Sean Swartout in 1992. Where's he at? Oh, he's over here. I saw Colin, sorry. Thank you. Like Zach, Alan Stephanide becomes the fourth member of his family to graduate tonight, joining his father John Stephanide in 1980, his uncle Stephen in 1988, and his brother JJ in 2022. Michael Loyola is also part of the brigade of Sons of Alumni in the class of 2024, with his father Albert graduating in 1991, and his brother Eddie in 2022. All right. Matthew Spicer graduates tonight 36 years after his uncle Steve, and 37 years after his father Mike, who briefly returned to Salesianum to coach basketball and soccer after college. Bryce Patterson follows in the footsteps of his father Brock, who also graduated in 1997. Matthew Priest graduates tonight, carrying the legacy of his late father Joe Priest, who graduated in 1996 and died after a battle with cancer in 2010. Matt Bamonte, you need to be ready because the Priest family alone could provide a quorum for an alumni association meeting. Supporting Matt tonight are his uncles James Priest of the class of 1999, Robert Priest of the class of 2005, and of course Matt's brother Nick Priest, who graduated in 2022. Speaking of brothers in the crowd, we have two returning student council presidents in the audience tonight, whose leadership helped us get through some of the toughest challenges Salesianum has ever faced. I know it's going to embarrass both of them, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Joe Sheets of the class of 2020, now at Columbia University, is the oldest brother of Eric Sheets. Declan Landis of the class of 2021, now at Temple University, is the older brother of Ronan Landis. Joe and Declan, so much of your hard work built a foundation of living stones that this class's success rests upon. And Eric and Ronan, in their own way, have come to exemplify the spirit of this class as they have taken hold of the legacy you strove so hard to preserve. Yet another family with a brother in the class of 2022 is James McDermott, whose father Mike graduated in 1992. And fun fact, Mike, you were the first school's All-American lacrosse player way back when Size Lacrosse was just a club team. Look at the program now. James' uncle Kevin graduated in 2000 and his brother Liam in 2022. Quinn Dutterer's father Tim was a member of the class of 1992 as well. Quinn's grandfather and namesake Michael Quinn is a member of the class of 1960. And that legendary class of 1960 is very well represented tonight with Joe Murphy, who is the grandfather of Jake Swift, and Vance Funk, and who many of you recognize as the former two-term mayor of Newark and longtime community advocate. Vance is the grandfather of Christopher Kent. Michael, Joe, and Vance were all classmates with Lucas Vay's grandfather. I had too much water there. Let me start over. Michael, Joe, and Vance were all classmates with Lucas Vay's grandfather, Brian Vahey, who graduated in 1959. All four of them were part of the group that moved the school, desk by desk, from 8th and West Streets to 18th and Broome, an act we commemorated with the seniors just 2 weeks ago. And incidentally, Rocco Abisinio was in the same class as Brian Vahey and Rocco's son, Peter, a member of the class of 1990. Peter is Lucas Vahey's uncle on the other side of the family. Small world, even for Delaware. Larry Pietropalo of the class of 1969 is here for his grandson, Joey. Larry was a standout athlete at Salesianum and the first Salesian to win an individual state wrestling title, which he did twice. A rare feat then and now, but repeated this year by Frank Miller. Joseph Harris Jr. is a member of the class of 1955. Let me get through this. We can hold our applause to the end. Joseph Harris Jr. is a member of the class of 1955 and sent all 5 of his sons to Salesianum, including Steve and Tom Harris of the classes 1988 and 1989, respectively, both of whom are here tonight. And tonight, Joseph makes it a perfect six-pack by adding his grandson, Jeffrey Malik, to the mix. Alexander Falkowski has roots at Salesianum that stretch all the way back to 1935. He's a third-generation Salesian along with his brother Nick of the class of 2020, following his father Vince, a member of the class of 1992, and his grandfather Vince Sr., who graduated in 1967. I'll stop there. Just know there's a lot of Falkowskis, and Alex is just the latest in an alumni family group that is now more than a dozen strong. There are other ties to the class of 1967 here tonight. Michael Joya becomes the 8th member of his family to graduate from Salesianum, joining his grandfather Gene Bradley of the class of 1967, and 7 uncles and great-uncles. Speaking of uncles, I'm going to shout out a bunch here, rapid fire. Joseph Preddy, Logan Armour, Wyatt Enslin, and Matthew Zocolillo are represented by the 8 uncles, starting with Daniel Duran of the class of 1987, and including Ben Ryan of the class of 1989, Jason Katowski of the class of 1995, Brian Katowski of the class of 1999, Christopher Noonan and Kevin Katowski, both of the class of 2000, Craig Noonan of the class of 2002, and ending with Brandon Katowski of the class of 2009. We have some third-generation Salesians here tonight, including Ben Devlin, whose grandfather, Tom, graduated in 1966. I told you I was going to do this, Tom. You didn't believe me. Followed by his father, TJ, Ben's father, that is, TJ, in 1993. Now, TJ, you deserve a special award for still entrusting the school with Ben's education, knowing that I was principal after experiencing me as a first-year teacher back in the spring of 1992. Certainly not ready for prime time then. And I could mention Vince Farrell and I know his son Dylan, another person who I appreciate the trust after seeing me back in those years. Eric Vesey's third-generation connection actually goes back 4 generations to his great-grandfather, John DeGhetto, who graduated in 1944, and his grandfather, Dave DeGhetto, who graduated in 1976. And I'm looking for Dave DeGhetto. Would you wave at me, please? Where's he at? Way in the back. All right, now, Dave, I misidentified you last night, Deacon Dave, that is. I misidentified you as Eric's uncle. You're actually his grandfather, so let me get that right tonight. Okay, well, you felt a little younger. I guess that's... Nick Strasowski is wearing the class ring of his grandfather, Jacob, who was a member of the class of 1952. His father, Jerry, graduated in 1974, and there are 7 other Strasowski alumni out there making Nick the 10th. Father and son also both share the experience of having won a state championship for Salesianum football. Jonas Kipp is also wearing the ring of his grandfather, Jim Kipp Sr., who graduated in 1955. Jonas' father, James Kipp Jr., is a member of the class of 1984. Jonas' family has other great connections to Salesianum, including his uncle, Sam Castorani, in 1957, who, along with 2 other classmates, sailed down the Mississippi River as rising seniors. If you want to hear a fascinating story of Salesian Brotherhood, check out the feature on the River Boys as they were known, which hangs just outside these doors in the gym lobby. Jack Igo is the 10th Igo to graduate from Salesianum. The Igo family ties go back more than 60 years and include Jack's grandfather Michael of the class of 1973, his late uncle Pooch Igo of the class of 1975, and his father Chris of the class of 1994. Also in that same class of 1994 is Joey Nagle's dad, also Joseph. 2 more dads in the crowd tonight who could tell some really entertaining stories about me as a young teacher. Now for a bit more about the young man who received the first diploma tonight, Jack Atrocious. Jack's grandfather, the late George Bader Sr. of the class of 1948, was a standout athlete and had 3 sons who graduated from Salesianum. And now with Jack, 7 grandsons who've graduated. George, or Spike Bader, as he was known to his friends, so Big Tasty wasn't the only, nickname that we've had around here, had the distinction of being a carpenter in the family business, J.A. Bader and Company, which was hired to build the new Salesianum in 1955. George took pride in building this building and shared some of the very tools he used with his family, including a tape measure. Now, where are the Baders at? Or excuse me, not the Catrocious family, where are you at? Okay, Mark, stand up for a second. So when Mark graduated a couple years ago, I sent out the same survey, asked for, tell me about any family connections. And about 20 minutes before graduation started, Mark showed up with this, his grandfather's tape measure used to actually build the building we're sitting in right now. I may have gotten slammed for being late, but part of the reason is moments like that. As Jack will confirm, I have kept it in a special place and do consider this a sacred relic, not just because your grandfather helped use this tool to help build the House of Sales, but because he was a perfect and living example of someone who loved this community so much. A true engineer of brotherhood and an example not only for Jack and his brothers Michael and Mark, but for all alumni and for every member of the graduating class tonight. So to wrap this up, how about we take it all the way back to 1907 and tie this in with Salesianum's first graduating class. I've been doing this a few years now, and Luke Carosi has more Salesianum relatives than anyone I've ever encountered, which is really saying something for a school in Delaware. There's his 3 older brothers, Jordan, Colby, and Ethan, his father, Matt Carosi, of the class of 1988, his cousin, Katie Godfrey, Salesianum's athletic director, who knew this, and his great-grandfather, the legendary Bill Beck, who is in the Salesianum Hall of Fame and the driving force behind founding the sports banquet 76 years ago. But wait, there's more. Luke is a descendant of half of the first graduating class at Salesianum. Such a claim is made a little easier when there were only 4 members and 2 of them were twin brothers. But nevertheless, those twins, Daniel and William Kilroy, were half of our first graduating class in 1907 and are the great, great, great uncles of Luke and his brothers. That's worth some applause. And at this time, I'm going to ask Luke to come down to the stage and his family, brothers, mom and dad, to come to the stage for a special presentation. And I'm going to ask our president, Dr. Tom Kardish, to join me for this. In 2011, Salesianum mourned the loss of Rita Rosario, whose career here spanned more than 4 decades. Rita first came to work at Salesianum in 1969. After her husband passed away, she raised 7 children. Salesianum became a family to her, and her gentle faithfulness made a difference in the lives of generations of students, teachers, and staff. An award is given in her name to any family that has sent 4 or more sons to Salesianum on the night of the youngest son's graduation. And we can now add this award to the long Carosi family legacy. Join me in recognizing Luke of the class of 2024, his mother Michelle and father Matthew of the class of 1988, and his older brothers Jordan of the class of 2016, Colby of the class of 2018, and Ethan of the class of 2021. Although every graduate receives the honor of a Salesianum diploma, each year the Provincial Medal of Honor is given to the graduating senior who, in the judgment of the faculty, staff, and oblate community, best exemplifies the spirit of St. Francis de Sales. And to help me present this award, I'm going to ask Father Jack Kaloje to step up and join me here at the podium. Our patron saint taught and lived the Christian life like few others. His simple motto, "Live Jesus," is a reminder of our vocation to imitate our Savior in all actions, great and small, by being who we are and striving to be that person well. The Provincial Medal of Honor is granted to the senior recognized as possessing the qualities of gentleness, humility, charity, and scholarship in the spirit and after the example of St. Francis de Sales, the gentleman's saint. It is the highest award given at graduation. The Very Reverend Jack Kaloje, OSFS, Provincial Superior of the Wilmington, Philadelphia Province of the Oblates of St. Francis de Sales, will now present the Provincial Medal of Honor for the class of 2024 to Andrew Castellano.
Good evening, family. St. Jane de Chantal, who is as much responsible for Salesian spirituality as Francis de Sales himself, remarked in a letter that with God, there is no need for long speeches. Implied in that statement is likely graduations too, especially when this speech is the last long one, not too long, before the cigars. Thus, I want to speak to you seniors, briefly and sincerely. You have learned an extraordinary amount here at the House of Sales, in the classroom, and in this brag, on the fields and out in our community. But out of all those things, I want to remind you that among the most durable and useful elements of your Salesian education is, in fact, the direction of intention. I suspect it's easy for all of you to imagine reciting the direction of intention prior to a difficult moment with a girlfriend or a family member, or perhaps that big test or job interview, or in the future, an important moment in your emerging career. You can and should recite the direction of intention in those moments. But while it's absolutely normal for many people to ask for strength and grace and courage in those big seminal moments of trial, challenge, and triumph, I would contend that as you learn to recite the direction of intention here many times each and every day for the past 4 years, you continue that practice. Let your gray-haired Uncle Tom suggest to you that it's a good idea to recite it during life's small and more mundane moments as well. Invoking God's presence for patience when you're stuck in traffic. Approaching someone soon on campus that looks like they need a friend. Or seeking the strength to complete a problem set or a workout that no one will ever see. The direction of intention makes a powerful statement that you recognize you are never alone. You demonstrate that you understand that God is with you at all times, big moments and small. By reciting the direction of intention in those lesser moments, you're acknowledging that you're not always in control, but you're willing and prepared and eager to build God's kingdom with whatever tools and materials you are given. You will always be a conduit for God's love and grace, no matter what difficulties you may meet therein. It's that acceptance of all of the good that life will bring, which brings us back again to the wisdom of Jane de Chantal. Long before St. Mother Teresa said something very similar, Jane de Chantal wrote, "We cannot always offer God great things, but in each instant we can offer him little things with great love." Life will surely bring you great things and big moments, and you're ready for those. Frankly, because it's easy to take hold in those moments when the spotlight is shining bright. But far more often, life is going to bring you lesser moments. And now that you're a Salesian gentleman, I want each of you to commit to continue to recite the direction of intention wherever you go. It will make sure that when the spotlight is off, you never let go. God bless you. Each one of you is special. And together, as the newest members of the Salesian Brotherhood, you are a true force for good in this world. Now go out there. Spread our Salesian Brotherhood far beyond 18th and Broome. God bless you all. I'm grateful for the opportunity I've had to walk these halls with you. I hope you always feel welcome to stop back and see all of us. God bless you. This is a special evening, and we're joined with some special guests. The folks in the first row with the funny gowns like me. We do, in fact, have a board of trustees here at Salesianum. We have the vice chair, Honorable Andy Bouchard, up on the stage. So when you see these people in the hallway, be very nice to them. They're my boss. Jack Kaloje, I want to thank you for what you've entrusted to all of us here, the faculty and staff at Salesianum. We don't take this preservation of the legacy lightly, and again, your constant presence and support is very much appreciated. Thank you, Jack. And finally, we're very excited to be honored by the presence of the Bishop of Wilmington, the Most Reverend William E. Koenig, and he is the last person on the agenda. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe.
Good evening. As we mark the completion of the class of 2024 and their graduation on this day, May 31st, we also join the church throughout the world, which celebrates the feast of the Visitation of the Blessed Mother, that time in which Mary went to help her kinswoman, Elizabeth, during her pregnancy. And so in the spirit of graduation and looking to the Blessed Mother, I offer this prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude and joy as we celebrate the achievements of our graduates. We thank you for guiding them through their academic journey, for the knowledge they have gained, and for the friendships and memories they have made along the way. On this feast of the Visitation, we are reminded of the virtues of Mary, her faith, her courage, and her unwavering trust in your plan. May these same virtues be instilled in our graduates as they embark on the next chapter of their lives. Like Mary, may they carry the light of your love wherever they go, spreading kindness, compassion, and hope. Bless these graduates with the wisdom to make wise decisions, the strength to face challenges with resilience, and the humility to seek your guidance in all they do. May they always remember the support of their families, the dedication of their teachers, and the bonds of friendship they have formed. As they leave this place and step into the future, we ask that you protect them, inspire them, and lead them to paths of righteousness and fulfillment. Let their actions reflect your love and bring glory to your name. We entrust them to your loving care, confident that with you they will achieve great things and make a positive impact on the world. And I bless you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.